So if you like, you can test range of motion, because I like to test range of motion. I'm a physical therapist. I like to see how the body feels, because we can test if a shoulder improves in range of motion. It's like we know something changed. So I'm going to walk around a little bit, move my arms, move my neck, move my body, check my voice. I'm still dealing with this, like they were drywalling a week or so ago and it's still affecting my breathing. But yeah, I gotta check your range of motion. Ah, okay. Okay, so we're gonna do this as a pure matrix energetics thing first, and then we'll get to doing whatever we needs to be, whatever we can do to help everybody heal and get what you want. So so think about I'll set it up like this. So when I took matrix energetics, you know, I've taken it probably 30, 35 times over the years, back when they taught it a lot, and just because it was so fun, and I'd like to kind of really dive in and learn something. And so so the thing was, you would be in a room with 300, 400, 500 people, and Richard Bartlett would pull somebody up on stage and do you know, do a session, and everybody else would kind of hang out, and everybody could have a healing even if they were in the audience or if they were the one on stage. And let me make Leslie a co-host. And so when they did that, it was fun to be pulled on stage, but it was also cool to feel stuff, like if you were in the audience. So I'm trying to do two things at once here. So we're going to do a matrix energetics thing. Make co-host. There we go. Okay. And what you can do, what the way it would work was you'd go on stage, and whoever was doing the demo, the session, Richard Bartlett, one of the instructors, would ask them, what do you want? And we called it the clipboard. So it's like putting everything you want on a clipboard, and then we would do a thing. So I'm going to show you how to do some matrix energetics in a minute, but let's just do it for everybody right now. So if you like, think about what do you really want. Just simple, like what do you want? And so I'll leave it a minute or so just to think about, like, okay, yeah, if something were to be done for you today, what might that be? And then we'll feel like taking it a step further. So if you got everything you wanted, and really just load it all up, like, yeah, if something were to be done for you today, what might that be? Like, how would you know it happened? Okay. And I do feel like taking it a step further. This is different than what they would do in Matrix, but I feel like doing this. So if you got everything you wanted, what would that do for you? It came to me, everything you wanted, and it all came true. What would it do for you? And out of all those things it would do for you, what would be the best part? And the best part, why would that be the best part? And then how would it feel? Like, how would it feel? What would be the feeling of that, getting all that and having the best part? Okay, now let go. And I'm going to do 1 point here. And I'll tell you, I'll show you how to do this in a little bit. And 1 point here. Okay, and let's test it. So if you did test something before, let's test how you feel, see if anything's different. So so let me know what you notice if anything's different. You can put it in the chat or you can unmute and let me know. Let's see, where is the chat? There's the chat. And then let's get right to doing stuff. Actually, let me show you how to do that. So and Leslie's a matrix energetics practitioner. So Tuesday, Leslie, people ask us like how do you do matrix energetics? And it's kind of the wrong question because it's more like a state of being, and you just are it. And so how do you do that? And so the way these seminars used to go is they would talk a lot about spiritual stuff or quantum physics or just goofy stories about something that happened, and it didn't seem like there was much structure to it. It was like, what are you guys doing? And then they would say, okay, go ahead and practice. And it was like, practice what? You didn't teach us anything. And the same way Christian Michelson, when he would do instant miracle classes, and he does them still. And people would say, okay, so it's okay, go practice. It's like, practice what? Because you didn't teach us anything. And it's more like you're soaking in it, and you already have it. And so, but then there had to be some structure. And so this was the structure that, God, my voice. This was a structure that Melissa Joy, who came into Matrix Energetics, and one of the people early on, and Reggie Sheely and Justice Bartlett, and they had to figure out like, well, how do we teach what's going on with Richard Bartlett? Because the people that took the classes early on, I know some of them, they were like, I don't know what he did. We were laughing, people were falling down. I don't know if anything happened. I definitely didn't learn how to do anything. And so it's like that was going on. And yet people were healing around Richard Bartlett in unexplained ways, and sometimes not, and sometimes yes, and sometimes in unexpected ways. So this weirdness was going on, and so these other people came in and said, well, here's what we think is going on. We think what's going on is there's in quantum physics, there's this idea that all possibilities exist at the same time, and what you look at determines which one shows up. So it's like, notice what you notice. Like, we notice the lamp, we notice the chair, we notice the reality the way it is. So the world looks like that. And but what quantum physics was saying was, it because they were looking at the electrons, and the electrons were there, and then they weren't there. and they were there, and then they weren't there, and then they were in all positions, and then they weren't there. And it's like, so the question became, well, when they're not here, where are they? And so we, with matrix energetics, we think of it like this: maybe this is what's happening. We're constantly popping into and out of existence, like those electrons, because we're made of electrons. And so we're popping back into the void of all possibilities of nothingness, and then popping back into, oh, here's a physical body. And and so in every moment we're popping back in. And with matrix, when you pop out, you can look at a different possibility, or you can let go of possibilities, and then when you pop back in, it's different. And so that could be an explanation of how somebody can heal so fast, or something can change really, really in an instant. We're popping in and out of existence. Maybe that's the thing. And so how do you do that? And I'll give you one story, just to, like, I've seen this so many times. It's like so many times that it's absolutely certain with me that this is how the universe really works. And there's probably some level beyond it that I don't know. Of course, you know, when I die, I don't think I'm going to come up with I don't think I'm gonna die and go, oh yeah, I knew it was like this. I have a feeling I'm gonna be like, wow. And like my friend Don Lay, when I heard he passed away, the guy that had the near-death experience, they said he just looked up at the sky and did this. I mean, he was like practically comatose, and he just stood up and did this thing. And it's like, what did he see? You know, I don't know. So and he used to say, you know, when I asked him, like, how do you meditate? What do you recommend? Because he had been on the other side and he came back, and he just smiled and he said, shut up and listen. And so it's like, wow, okay. So here's the structure that they gave us in matrix energetics, is to drop it into the space. It could be called the heart space, but it's not like your physical heart. It's not a chakra heart. It's just space. And so you can take a little pebble. It's a way to kind of do this, and then just let go, and it falls. And like a real pebble, you know, you don't have to try to make it fall. You don't have to like envision it falling. You don't have to see it fall. You just got to let go. So just take a pebble, and there's infinite pebbles. So on 3, 2, 1. And then Melissa Joy and Richard were way into torsion field physics, and now there's chaos theory, and there's really interesting stuff if you start looking up chaos theory of the structure of mathematics that seems to be under the surface of and running the whole show. So they said it appears we're in a torsion field, and they talked about the Philadelphia experiment, where they created huge electromagnetic torsion fields, and whole battleships were popping in and out of existence. Our government was doing stuff like that, but people were, weird stuff was happening. People were dying. It was like crazy stuff. Was it true? Was this just a myth? You know, who knows? But there's this idea around torsion fields. So then Melissa started saying, okay, you can spin energy around you counterclockwise, and at the same time, the bigger circle spin energy around you clockwise. And so you kind of notice the torsion field around you, kind of like an atom, you know. And then you pop a little pebble, and you let it go. It falls into that spinning vortex on 3, 2, 1. And really, you don't have to make it happen. You don't have to see it. You don't have to create it. You just got to let go. So it's not about doing anything, which is weird because I'm telling you some stuff to do, but it's a way to just let go. Kind of like Jesus said, don't you know you're a God and the Holy Spirit resides within you? It's like, oh, I mean, that's in there. So we got this process to like spin energy counterclockwise, spin energy clockwise as a group. It's been said, where two or more are gathered, there I am. And anything you ask in my name, it will be given to you. So it's like we asked, you have your vision of what you want, and then how do you trust? How do you trust and let go? And so one way is to take this little pebble and just let go. And like Don Lay said, shut up and listen. Let go. Like just stop. And then Melissa said, okay, so here's what I think Richard's doing when Richard does whatever Richard does. Because he was like a crazy person. He's like a little kid. So what Melissa said was, what she does this torsion field, lets a pebble drop, and then she goes to the feeling of shopping for boots on sale at Nordstrom Rack. Literally, that's what she does. She goes to the feeling of shopping for boots at Nordstrom Rack on sale. Now that doesn't do much for me. So I go to the feeling of Vancouver and English Bay on the first day vacation with Jen. Yeah, you guys got this. So the idea with this matrix energetics is the trust. The only technique in matrix energetics is trust. Like when the disciples, Jesus didn't heal this one woman, and then Jesus healed her. They said, "How come we didn't heal her?" And he said, "You don't have enough. You didn't have enough faith." Yeah, that's it. So matrix energetics, this state of like popping in and out of existence, that maybe that's what we're doing all the time so fast that we don't notice when we're in existence, and we don't notice when we're out of existence. It's happening so fast. This state is achieved at this space. It's like an event horizon. It's talked about in physics. Like it's the space between spirit and physical form. And the access point is this feeling of immense ecstasy. Yeah. So, that archetypical healer that transcended everything. If maybe it's a myth, maybe it's real. It doesn't even matter, really. I think it does, but it's like this idea that to enter the kingdom of heaven, you must be as a child. And what that is pure, unbridled ecstasy, absolute playtime. Whoa. And that, I think, is the secret of matrix energetics. So now we're going to do this. Let's do this together. And make it's about nothing. So you can let go of your thoughts. Yeah. And let's put one hand anywhere and put another hand anywhere. There's your 2 points of possibilities. Whoa. And then let's take a pebble and spin energy counterclockwise, spin energy clockwise. And on 3, we'll let go. 3, 2, 1. And go to the feeling of whatever that is for you, that ecstasy. Wow, you guys. Whew. So now let's retest. Let's retest how we're feeling. So check your bodies. So I'm definitely different. Um, just I'm a little looser. Yeah, I'd love to hear how you guys feel because I like to test things. It's like, we trust and then we test and verify. Like, did it do something? So yeah, let me know, and let's work on some people now. Oh, I'll tell you one more story that I've had so many of these, and it just gets weirder and weirder. And like, really? I'll tell one matrix energetic story that I've told before, and just this idea like popping in and out of existence. So there's a little trail by where we used to live, sort quarter-mile trail between a neighborhood and the university here in town. And I used to walk it, and I used to also run it and connect to two different parts of town. And yeah, David's a little looser. So at one point there was, and it's an arboretum, so you're not supposed to disturb anything. It's supposed to be ancient forest. But at one point I saw a tree that had been cut down. So there was a stump, and it was right before this hill that goes to the university, and it's only a quarter-mile trail. And so I would run, and I would stand on that stump and just look at the bay, and so it's beautiful. And then I would go continue my run, and I did that for a few weeks. And then at one point I'm running on my trail, and the stump wasn't there, and I'm like, oh, where did the stump go? And I went and looked, and it was undisturbed ground. There was like all the pine needles, and nothing had been. There was no stump. There was no hole where there was a stump. It was like, what? So I ran back and forth on this quarter-mile trail. Like, did I miss the stump? And it was gone, and it was always gone since then. And I thought, and I've seen this over and over again, where it's like, just weird. Like, was it? Did I just make a? Was I mistaken? Was it just not ever there? Um, what was I standing on those days when I stood on it? So it was like, it can be kind of weird, and in a way that's like kind of cool. So but would I miss it if I didn't know that was like, it could be easy to like, oh, that was weird. Yeah, that was weird. So pay attention is what I'm saying, and notice what you notice is one of the keys of the matrix, because the other part of this is the secret of matrix energetics is it's in these spiritual traditions. By the time you've asked, I've answered. And so when you notice something, whether it's supernatural like that, or it's just I'm noticing something in space right here, you can trust that there's information there, and you don't have to do anything to it unless you're called to do something to it. But it's like, by the time you notice it, something's already different. And so it turns into a process of you can do this all day long, is just drop into the space, go to the feeling, even if you're having a meeting, go to the feeling of something that brings you great joy, ecstasy. And because you've done it, you've had that feeling before, you can go to that feeling anytime you want, even if you're in a meeting. And so they think you're in a meeting, you're talking, they're talking, stuff is going on, but what you're really doing is you're feeling this feeling. Yeah, that. And then everything is different. And say you're in a car and you're about to go into the meeting. You could literally do this before you go in. This is what I do. Before the session, I go to this space. So the rule set that I have is, by the time I show up, it's already done. So you can start to make funny little rules. By the time I show up, it's already done, and I can play. And so then, and then you get data along the way that, wow, this stuff works. This is interesting. This is cool. Chance meetings, cool stuff. It's not always perfectly cool, like, yay, I made $1 million, but it's like, but sometimes it is. So it's, and it's always kind of cool. And one of the cool things is, like, I don't know what you guys did with your thing, but what I got was, when I got what would it do for me if I got everything I wanted, you'd be like, wow, I'd be figuring out even more how to deliver even more value for people, my people. I'd be freed up from some of these concerns about money. And then it's like, what would be the best part? For me, it was, wow, I could just notice, like, smell the roses. Like, I could just, like, just notice, like, how cool this is. And when I'm, and then the part about, like, why would that be the best part? For me, it was because I'm going to be freaking dead someday. And I might as well freaking enjoy it now. And it didn't come in quite so strong, but that's what I got. And so, and so what I got out of the whole thing was just notice, like, just, there was a guy, Patrick Dentembo, does the Revealed films. He's friends with Dr. Zach Bush, who does a lot of regenerative agriculture now. And he was telling him, you don't have to enjoy your life. You just got to notice it. This feels so good. It's so cool because it's like, I just to let you know, I didn't think about all this stuff before I started talking this morning. I just hung out with Jen, drank coffee, looked at the lake, and then I wonder what we're going to do today, and went to the state.